Hey, what's up, YouTube? So I've been getting a lot of questions about my stereo install for the wireless CarPlay on the RSX. I posted that video a few months ago, and it's been getting a lot of hits, as well as a lot of questions on how to do it, because it's been like one of those first-time DIYs that I filmed, and it's been pretty successful in terms of getting other people to install it. Got to turn on the car real quick and show you. This is the ATOTO F7 with the customized boot logo that says Honda, because I have my DC5 with the Honda badges besides the steering wheel. And then you pretty much have CarPlay connected. It'll automatically connect in a second. And I get a lot of questions about the wiring interface and how do I do it? What does it look like behind it, besides just connecting kind of all the harnesses together, as well as the rear backup camera, which I'll show you guys in a second. But this is it. This is CarPlay. It's really cool. You can switch between like Apple Music and Maps and all the good stuff. And so that's pretty much what we have. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the car, pull out the panel, and show you guys how I did the wiring. So this is just gonna be one of those quick video tips on how to wire up the ATOTO F7 unit, and what does the wires and what does it connect to on the rear side of the trunk. So I pretty much still have the unit on, but I pulled it out of the dash, and I wanted to flip it around and show you guys how things are connected. So as you can see here, this is the very top of it. So you have that wireless CarPlay connection interface. You have the antenna plugged in, the OEM antenna, and really everything plugs in through that kind of bluish, as you can see back there. There's that blue connector for the wiring harness. You can see it right there. And that's where the wiring harness plugs into. And then you're pretty much matching the colored wires, except two things. Your pink wire is going to go to the pink wire. As you can see here, I have it's the service detecting rear camera wire, right? And then you have this red in the pink wire, and that's going to connect into the ATOTO wiring harness right here. That's also pink, and those two are spliced together. I know it's hard to see, but it's already in the car, so it's kind of hard to kind of look at. And then right over here, you kind of just have it under electrical tape. But basically, you have three red wires, and they're gonna all be spliced together. And this is really the only unique thing about this wiring harness. All the colors connect, you know, yellow to yellow, orange to orange, blue to blue, etc. Except like the red wire from the ATOTO wiring harness, the RCA plug that plugs into your unit has a red wire, and then that little harness adapter that you bought that plugs into that blue connection there, all those three red wires, you're gonna splice them together. You can either use kind of a soldering, or you can just wrap it with electrical. You need to take it apart again, like I do quite often. But that's the front of it, and once you get all that in, this is pretty much what the wiring looks like. All right, so I'm gonna put this back in. Everything's working. I have to bolt it down later, but let's take a look at the reverse. So this is the rear backup camera. As you can see here, like come park next to like a wired fence. But that's the backup camera. When you put it in reverse, you get the lines there, as well as a little view of the backside. All right, so you can see this is the back of my car. You can see this is the rear camera hooked up. It's wired through the bumper, as my first video shows. And the key difference is these white lights are your reverse lights. And that's where you're gonna tap in everything to. So you can see here I pulled out the panels just so I can expose the wiring for everyone to see again. And really, backup camera connects to these RCA plugs here. This section here goes out to the rear camera, and then over here you have the black and the pink wire, and this whole black wire is going to lead all the way on the side to the front, which I showed in my first video. But the pink wire is really what taps into your rear tail light or your rear backup light. And so that backup light, like I showed you before, right over here is that white section here, and you can see that there's a bulb, and the bulb coming out is a black wire, which is ground, and a green wire. And so you're going to connect that pink wire into that green wire and just tap it. You're going to splice it, and then that should just kind of initiate. When you put it in reverse, it should know to turn on the camera because your reverse lights are on. And then the only thing to note is I'm using the existing ground from the rear side, and so like this whole section here with this bolt, lots of ground wires for the wiring harness, and I'm just kind of using, when you have all this kind of extra cable, I'm just tapping into the ground wire and putting this ground wire there, and you can see that there's a little white section around it. I just took a little sandpaper and just exposed some metal just to make sure it has a good connection. But other than that, I'm just kind of using the existing one, and from there just cleanly zip tying it as best as I can, and working my way around. So you can see this larger, thicker RCA wire just leads all the way to the front where I just showed you that connection point there. So yeah, that's pretty much the wiring. Hopefully this was helpful, and thanks for watching my first video on how to get CarPlay in an older car like this 2003 Acura RSX. And hopefully this helped clear up some questions about the wiring.